Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks again so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Took a look at this here. Bitcoin rejecting at 70,000. What do you know? That's psychological support. I wish I was awake 3 hours ago so I could have caught that short on the top there. But again, at this point, we're going to see if there's, it's worth continuing lower or if the price will continue lower. And, obviously the benefit of taking a short versus a long. So let's take a quick look at the backend data here quickly first, kind of understand what's going on with liquidation. And I do want to ask you, just hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. Absolutely appreciate that. Thank you again so much to those who do that on every single video. So let's take a look here at Bitcoin. What we want to talk about first of all is this massive amount of liquidation above the price action, right around 70,000. We've talked about this previously, but there's a good 10 to 20 billion above the price action still, between 70 and 71K. So there's a solid chance that that's going to be a strong resistance levels for us, not only based on psychological resistance, but more importantly too, majority of liquidation has been swept already. So if you're not already familiar, there's been billions of dollars, specifically at 69,000. That was about 20 to 25 billion that was swept there, and then another good 10 to 20 here as well between 69 and 70. And at this point, if we do take a look, we can see 8, 5, 7, 7. There's still a good 20 to 25 billion left between 70,000 and 70,500. But when you look at the charts here, and you kind of see this more recent high, this guy right here, a lot of times the extra liquidity, like we see right here, just gets taken care of and the price pulls back. This is very standard stuff. Again, what they're doing is they're getting people late longs to jump on in. The breakout traders jump in at 70,000. They get destroyed on the way down. So any late long in the last 24 to 40 hours over the weekend specifically just got hammered, unless of course they took some profits. Most people are greedy. Unfortunately, they won't. They think that Bitcoin's going to go to 100,000 tomorrow. So, they're going to hold on too long and take a nice green trade into the red. So if you're part of my community, I ask that you just make sure you secure profits when you take trades, folks. It's really not that hard. Try not to be super greedy. I know you're going to see Tom, Dick, and Harry online posting their 50x leverage trades at 5,000% return. You don't want to trust those people. In fact, we've got a couple of those in our community that post those kind of results consistently. And again, 500x leverage is really not worthwhile. I'm not even going to bother to show you that because I don't think it really deserves any credit. Again, gambling, folks, shouldn't take place in trading if you're doing it correctly. Anyways, okay, so let's talk about the daily time frame here and work our way down and just kind of see where we're at. Because now that we understand the big picture with liquidation, we can recognize the price is more likely to pull back here. Let's go ahead and go as far out as the weekly. And in fact, we'll cover the monthly later in the week, but let's look at the weekly time frame here. Let's go ahead and pull up our other chart and just kind of see where we're at. So on the weekly, we're still above the 20-day SMA. Okay, so that's at 65,600. Generally speaking, that's a positive sign being above that. Of course, obviously, we want to be above all moving averages, but the 20 is the more important one because that's kind of the trend setter. Okay, so closing above that last week is phenomenal. Does that mean the price is going to shoot to the moon? No, it just implies that we're in pretty good shape here. And if you do look at this bullish type of flag pattern here, we have a potential breakout here. Okay, so we can consolidate and or close at 70K this week, I would say, or higher. There's a solid chance we're going to see that happen. If not, we can kind of consider a broadening type of wedge pattern. However you look at it, we can look at that later. But for the most part, with what we see here so far, that's generally a positive sign. Over 50 on the RSI, stochastic still swinging up, passing through that threshold there at 30, and also almost through 50. These are all very, very good signs, okay? So I'm still bullish on the macro, 100%. Short term, I would say, based on what we've seen here with liquidation, having swept the majority of that liquidation level, I think that we're probably due to see a correction here to maybe 66, 64K, some lower support levels, okay? So we're going to talk about those, but for the most part here, the weekly time frame, there's no other way around it. It's still looking bullish, okay? Absolutely good to see that nice doji candle closing yesterday. So daily time frame, what does this mean for us here? Well, we're still diverging on stochastic RSI. This, if you will, a third stochastic divergence after trying to converge, right? Kind of a bit of a fake out there. We're under 70 on the RSI, in between 50 and 70, that's still favorable, okay? So by no means is this a bearish sign. It is just, however, implying that we have momentum to the downside now, and generally speaking, that momentum is kind of a precursor to further correction, okay? It's not always a guarantee, of course, because we are still maintaining above a lot of moving averages and some good support levels. So all the support based on moving averages is in the 64 to 65K range. That's kind of a loose number, but that's roughly where it's at. And if we take a look at the most recent point of control here, ever since we've been in 63,000 or higher, we can see a decent amount of volume at about 67,000. That's no surprise. That's a common support level. And then same thing here as well, about 64,500, or you could round up and just say 65K. So we got a decent amount of volume in those two areas. A lot of that volume is aggregating itself at round numbers. So just keep in mind, oftentimes round numbers are beneficial in ways of understanding that you need to secure profits just above or below that. And that's always a favorable thing to do. Let's take a quick look here though at the 4-hour time frame. You see things are starting to change a little bit here. Actually, no, wait, let's rewind on the daily. I do want to point one thing out here and recognize that being above the 20-day SMA is super huge. So honoring this ascending trend line is big for us, okay? So even if the price were to pull back to 66, bounce off 0.618 fib level, for example, if that were to happen, we'd still be honoring the ascending trend line, within reason, of course, and we'd still be in good shape. So again, that trend line / the 50-day SMA on the daily is a very important thing. So I just want to make sure you understand that the overall sentiment here is still bullish on Bitcoin. 4-hour time frame though, we are starting to test the 20-day SMA for this more shorter term trend line, okay? We've obviously lost that for the moment. Generally what happens in a downtrend, if this were to be the case, is the price were to come back up and bearishly backtest the ascending trend line. Okay, so pay attention to like a retest of 68.5. That could very well be a good shorting point if there's other signs here contributing. We do take a look here though, we're over the 50 on the RSI, that's right there exactly at 67,000. We're seeing common denominators here at 67,000. That's a very standard area here of support. So losing 67K, I would say would be generally construed as bearish. If the price comes down to 67K, I think that'd be a solid consideration for a long based on what we've seen here so far. Okay, so again, a lot of good contributing factors there. We take a look here at stochastic, of course, 4-hour stochastic swinging down. This is no surprise. This happens as a result of a crazy manipulative weekend. In fact, there was a couple of opportunities we missed because I just plain old don't like trading on the weekend. While we did take a nice ICP short, there was a Bitcoin long at 67,000 that we missed out on, of course, but hindsight's 20/20 and volume on weekends is weird. What I'm getting at here is that the price bounced perfectly off 67,000 right here in this range and went right up to 70K last night and or this morning. So again, really cool stuff in that regard. But the key takeaway here is that 67,000 we can presume is going to work as a support until it doesn't. Okay, and it's so far proven itself to be a pretty good little area there. MACD is starting to diverge, obviously with a strong red candle, and again, stochastic pulling back. We're over 50 on the RSI, however, so if we maintain this level or this range, should be in good shape. But if we do lose 50 on the RSI, I would say that we've broken tentatively bearish and that further downside would be expected. Okay, so just some heads up on that. 67K, good solid support range, but there is potential for further correction. If so, the common areas of retracement, by the way, and I'll highlight this on our Discord, Telegram, Twitter, Discord, essentially I have playout charts that I provide for you. The 0.5 fib level and 0.618, these are most common retraced areas, and that puts us about 66,800 and roughly 66,000 even. So my money is if we lose 67K, 66 should provide somewhat of a solid support level for us. Let's double check the Ichimoku cloud and confirm. We are testing the cloud right now. That's never a great sign. Lagging span is within the price action, conversion lines over the baseline. So this is basically as neutral as you can get. In other words, absolutely don't take a trade right now. That's really what it boils down to. So if you're taking a trade right now, you're forcing a trade. I wouldn't say it's a bad idea to consider a short just in general based on this significant divergence, losing this ascending trend line. The smaller time frames here are screaming divergence. Okay, 4-hour time frame is as well. However, we got to recognize we're still looking good on the macro. Okay, so again, honor the overall ascending trend. Between now and then, we could very well see the price retrace. And if we do look at the the more recent here, this is roughly like 2 weeks worth of trading, we can see 66 to 67,000 still kind of holding that line based on volume. Again, volume is a pretty big indicator. So to me, I think we may see 67,000 retrace to perhaps 66, but a likely bounce from there. I'm going to consider a long between 67 and 66,000. I think that's a good solid consideration. Overall, that's what we're looking at here. Thanks again so much for watching. Make sure, again, if you are a community member, you tune into our trade alert section. This is a new feature for our community, just giving you specific details on coins that I find to be very much trade-worthy, and obviously kind of explaining the reason behind it. I do also have updated macro live charts as well. Those are available to my members too. So hopefully you find benefit from that. And again, thanks again for the awesome feedback from everyone who is been watching me for a while. Even the newer members are starting to get in there, have some fun. It's really cool. We got a great community. Make sure you check it out. CryptoCache.tech is a site, folks. Link down below. There are limited slots available. More slots opening up actually at the 1st of August. So heads up on that. I appreciate your time, though. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.